Good morning, guys. Unfrequented world. Just getting ready for a road trip. Going on a metal detecting trip, actually. But this is a PHEV video, and that's because the place I'm going, I go there often, and it uses more electricity than my battery holds. So it's a perfect place to do some testing. Today, I'm going to run out there at 70 kilometers an hour and see how many kilometers we get. This is one day after I went in for the triple procedure, which, by the way, I'm pretty sure I did not get, because everyone online is telling me had I received a DB cam to reset everything in the battery, it would show up in my dog as a yellow card. I don't have that, so they obviously didn't do something right or didn't complete all three processes as I requested. They haven't given me any information on what they've done to the car, so I can't verify that as of yet. So today, we're going to do a 70 kilometer an hour test with the new summer tires back on and see how many kilometers we get. In the winter, we were hard-pressed to get over 35 kilometers. So let's see what we get with summer tires on and this fresh procedure, which we had done yesterday. The follow-up test is going to be that I put the car on cruise control at 70 kilometers. And we're going to do the exact same route again later this week and see how it stacks up. I'm pretty sure that because we're going to be able to coast when I'm freewheeling it here, that we're going to go much further than when the cruise is on. And the cruise automatically uses braking level 2, and you can't put it on B0. So I'm pretty sure what the results are going to be, but I keep having people ask me for that test. So today is part 1 of that test. So when we're not using the cruise control, we're going to be just over 70 kilometers, and where I can, I'll coast it back down and then hypermile it back up just over 70. And we'll do that for the whole trip, and then we'll compare that to having the cruise locked on 70. It's probably round trip close to 65 kilometers. We'll also notice that doing 73 on the speedometer actually shows 67 or 68 because the speedometer is oversampled. So we got to keep that in mind too. Okay, so we are at the halfway point of the first test, which was hypermiling at 70 kilometers, or as close as I could get to 70. And it was 31.7 kilometers traveled. And the gasometer is showing 9 kilometers left. If we look at our eco energy information, 18.7 kilowatt hours is what we used by hypermiling. And as you can see, of course, 100% EV driving. And I do have stats for the dog. So we're looking at this top trip right here, 31 kilometers, 29 minutes, 30.8% coasted, 2.6% regenerated. And 66.2 is the minimum kilometers, 74 is the maximum. So we're somewhere in between there. Actually, sorry guys, so the 66.2 is the average speed, 74 was the maximum. And that's because the speedometer, like I said, when you're doing 70 on the speedometer, it's actually probably 66 point whatever. Okay, so I've finished metal detecting for the day, and we are heading home, burning up the last of the electricity that we have in the battery. And it's about to start the engine here now, so we're at 38.3 and nothing left on the gasometer, so any second now it should kick on. Okay, that's funny. Maybe that has something to do with the procedure that they just did to the car. I don't know, because usually when it comes down to showing nothing left on the gasometer, you know, I have definitely less than a kilometer before the engine kicks on. And there, the engine just clicked on right now, so 40.2. That's hypermiling distance of 40.2 kilometers at 70 kilometers an hour. Okay, everybody, this is day 2 of our hypermiling versus cruise control test. We're going to do the exact same route that we did earlier in the week. This time we're going to lock the cruise on 70 or just above 70 and see if we get any extra mileage from one scenario versus the other. If I were a betting man, I'm going to say Hypermiling is going to be better, but I have no clue what the numbers are going to prove out. Now, keeping in mind that this is a very short test, 40 kilometers, 40.2 is what we got in the first half. You would have to extrapolate this over a 700 kilometer road trip or whatever to get, you know, how much benefit is the winter going to actually give you. But let's get on the trail and see what kind of numbers we get. So we've got 8 degrees Celsius today. Yesterday was 12 to 14, and today it's raining. But other than that, everything I could control, I have kept the same. I even ate the same breakfast. So I'm looking at the dog as I'm driving here, and to get 70 kilometers, that's where we have to keep the speedometer. So we're going to set it right there, which takes us out of electric mode and puts us on braking level 2. And as you can see, we are locked in at 70 kilometers an hour. Just in case I didn't mention it yesterday, there is no heat on for either of these tests. And I know some of you guys are waiting for an update on the triple procedure that I had and how it had no effect on my car and what the next steps are. Well, I've actually sent an email to Kyle and North Bay Mitsubishi explaining why I'm frustrated with what went down, and the fact that I had left the car there for 10 days and they had multiple opportunities to try more than once, if need be, to get this triple procedure done and installed. And that didn't happen. So I'm a little frustrated there, because now I'm gonna have to bring the car back, and literally I run this car twice a day, 7 days a week. So I don't know when I'm gonna have time to get that back in. That's a bit of my frustration. The other part was complete lack of communication when I showed up and said, I see on the worksheet that it says a service C, and I have requested special things through Kyle in a special order. And I was told, a joke was made that I was being particular. Well, I turned to that person at the desk and said, I have to be particular. Lots of people watch this channel, and we really need to make sure what's going on and the procedures that are being done. And it was just kind of a joke. And so the service manager then said to me, no, this is the service that you have requested, and everything will be done to your car, even though the sheet only said service C. So fast forward 11 days when I pick up the car, and I haven't actually had the triple procedure done, as you guys are telling me, because I would have a yellow card on the dog, etc. Only one of two things could have happened. Either it failed and they didn't retry it, which is still frustrating because they had 10 days, or B, I was never getting the triple procedure and they had something else planned, which they should have told me about. They should have said, no, you can't get this. We have to start troubleshooting at this level here and do these steps first. And that would be fine. If that was communicated to me, that would be fine. So that's where my frustration stems from, is a lack of communication. So I sent the email back to Kyle explaining that, and he said, we understand. As we've told you before, we're not giving up on your car. We've given you personal assurance this will be taken care of. So I totally believe that. They have not given up. And that they're going to have a meeting to discuss my case today. So as soon as I hear back from the dealership guys, I'll let you guys know what the next steps are. So we can see that as we're driving along going down hills, cruise control actually does regenerate a little bit because we're on B2. And now we're going up a big hill. And down the other side. So let's just watch what happens here when we come down the other side. So it looks like it's actually coasting. Very smart system. You can see it was regenerating on the front and the rear, or using just front and just rear individually. So it's doing its own thing, and it's doing it very well. This is where I think we lose a bit of energy. This is a long coasting, slight downgrade, but the cruise control is still using energy, where I would have coasted here had we been just freewheeling. And then as the grade gets a little steeper, you can see it shuts off. this stretch yesterday, I would have coasted down this whole stretch, so. And as we come to a pretty good grade right here, we'll see we should start, there it goes, regenerating. Now, as I've mentioned in many videos before, guys, the amount of energy that we regenerate right here on braking level 2 is not going to be the same amount of energy that we would get, that we would save by coasting. You're always going to coast further than the amount of energy that you regenerate. We've proven that in other videos, and the same thing is going to apply here when we're in cruise control. And here we are at the halfway point, Nipissing Field. 31.8 kilometers. We're showing 2 less kilometers on the gasometer. 100% EV, and you can see we've used more energy to get here, 19.9. Okay, and we'll look at the dog numbers as well. If we look at this, you guys will notice right away, one says 31 kilometers, one says 32. Yesterday, the dog stopped working on me 400 yards out of the driveway, and I had to restart it, so that's the difference. But 32 minutes and 18 seconds to get here yesterday, hypermiling, so we had a little slower average speed because we'd go above 70, coast back down below, speed up, and we just kept hypermiling. 31 minutes, 46 seconds. Big savings in time. Woo! 3.9% coasting today with the cruise control on versus 28.3% yesterday. However, we did 9.4% regeneration and only 2.4% yesterday hypermiling. And if we look here, I don't know how this is saying our average speed is 62.2, but that's what's recorded. Our maximum of 72. I don't know why that's so low, honestly, guys. Not sure what's going on there, why it's reading that, but it should have actually been higher because we set the cruise at 70, where yesterday I was just a little bit below 70 every time I would hypermile. So, but anyway, there's our consumption numbers for today. So we're going to go ahead and finish depleting the energy, and the number from yesterday was 40.2 kilometers. That was the maximum that we got hypermiling. We're just going to go 200 yards back out here onto the highway again, set it on 70, and finish running the battery dry. Okay, gasometer is now showing nothing left, so we're just going to record until the engine kicks on. And we'll mark that point. Engine kicked on. 37.3. Okay, so I've done some quick math with my calculator. That's a difference of 7.2%. Now you have to keep in mind that we only went 40 kilometers. So we would have to do more than double that to get to 100. So you're looking at approximately 15% extra distance by hypermiling versus using cruise control. Yes, we only did the test once. The rest is up to you guys if you want to see the results. I knew what the result was going to be before we even did it. That's the limitation of having braking level 2. I don't know why they don't set it up so that you could use cruise control and have it set to B0, so that when the car starts coasting at all, you don't need to use any regeneration at all. That would be the best way to make the car go further. So don't take my word for it, guys. Get out there, test your own PHEV. I'm pretty sure you're going to find the same result as myself, that using hypermiling versus cruise control, you're going to go a little bit further. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm just driving home and I'm trying to figure out why the average speed was lower in the second test, and I think I might have figured it out. Every time I go down a long hill, I would be coasting, and I would be coasting faster than 70 kilometers. Up to 75 kilometers, I believe, was the maximum yesterday. So that, you know, and we've sustained that for a longer distance. That could be why. And that in part with every time you go up a hill with cruise control on, it goes really slow until it kicks on to speed you back up to where you have the cruise control set. So those differences right there might account for the average being lower, but I'm not sure why. That's just a speculation.